welcome back. I wanted to record part 2 of my testimony for God, and I have been writing something so that I won't get distracted again, as usually by the camera. I'm not used to it. It's not easy for me to go back and remember things that were happening over 12 years ago, but I'm doing it for Jesus and for others who might be in the same situation that I was in years back with my children, because I had no hope then. I didn't see a way out. I was living almost under constant fear and control and a feeling of guilt, which is what a narcissist does, make you feel guilty for a lot of things that you actually have nothing to do with. So you can look that up and find out. In my first video I have said that we parted on good terms. However, that was not the case when I left 12 years ago. I had to leave, I had to run away basically, at the time that he wasn't at home with my children. They were 4, 5 and 1 years old, so still very little kids. So I had to take them and leave because there was a free spot in a shelter, a crisis shelter, how to call it, and I didn't know when the space will become free, so it was very sudden that I had to leave. And he remained in the same country where I live for 10 years. Then 2 years ago he left back to his country, and that's what I mean, we parted on good terms when he left 2 years ago. So that's clear now. He wouldn't have let me go otherwise. I had to leave when he left home back then, 12 years ago. I'm sorry for repeating, I'm still not very comfortable with the camera, so please bear with me. Back to how God has freed me. I was praying a lot. I felt trapped. So I cried out to God because, again, I couldn't see a way out of my situation, out of the situation I was in with that man. So I prayed. And I kept reading my Bible, which I had since I was around 18 years old. And that's another story, and I truly want to share it. It's about how I was before I became a born-again Christian. So I was just a Christian. Like, I basically did what I wanted, and yeah, it's a very different life than when you become born again. So, but that's a different testimony, I think, for another time. For now, as I was saying, in 2013 I was praying and reading my Bible, and I felt so uncomfortable, as I already was feeling for many years, but it increased, like the feeling something is wrong and something need to change. And I prayed, and it's not like some people have this very stunning testimony, you know, like they saw Jesus or an angel, or that didn't happen to me. I experienced like more like a whale came. I think it's called a whale in English. Like I could see a different life. You can think of it like seeing a movie in black and white, and then seeing the same movie in color. So that's how I felt. That's what happened, and there was no special experience, only that I cried out to God. And one day, after reading my Bible, I think, and praying, it just happens. So he chose, to remove the will, and he heard my cries for freedom, for a way out for me and for my children. So I saw life around me, but it was so new, it was so different. I could feel, and I could see God in so many things around me. Well, nature, of course, and birds and sky and everything. Like I felt his presence. It was a wonderful time. Even I still was living in that same house with the same person. The only thing that changed, I stopped our relationship immediately, because I felt that I saw the sin. It was so big and so obvious. Whereas before I knew it was wrong and we should get married, but I continued, or the relationship continued. So immediately after God has opened my eyes, I cut the relationship, but we were still living in the same house for 6 months. It was very intense and very dangerous at times, because, well, he wanted the relationship and I refused, because I felt God, and I saw the truth, and I felt this sin, and everything was so clear suddenly. At the same time, there were like two things happening. I felt the sin and I stopped it at once, and then it was hard living in the same house and waiting for a place, as we were waiting for a place in the shelter with my children. He didn't know about that. So, and at the same time, there was such a happiness and such a joy in me, because God has showed me how life truly is. Like, you get to see things differently yourself, other people. Of course, you see your sin, at least the most obvious sin. What I mean by that, it's a journey, it's a process. It's not like I was suddenly perfect, and no, it took time. But the most obvious sin was, living together, living in sin, not being married. So, yeah. And peace, yeah. I'm looking at my notes. I felt peace, which I didn't have before. Before, I felt darkness, I felt trapped, I felt no way out, and most importantly, I think I felt that hole in my heart, in my whole being, that I couldn't fill it up with anything. Nothing gave me that comfort. I felt the hole in me. So that hole was gone, and it was Jesus, it was God, and I felt peace, happiness, like true happiness, and a new life. Like, it was so wonderful. I felt God back then almost, or even every day. So it's like, I don't know what to compare it to, but maybe you can compare it in with falling in love, and that time you experience so much joy and happiness, and yeah, you feel God's presence. So after 6 months, we left the house into the shelter, and my children were little, as I said, and immediately I have experienced a lot of trials. Like, it makes me think of the desert after Moses have led people out of God's people out of Egypt, out of slavery, and then they were expecting wonderful things, and then they entered into the desert. So that's what I compare it with, because I didn't feel God's presence anymore. I was crying. My youngest child got very sick, like extremely sick. He couldn't walk, and he had a lot of pain, so it was horrible. Afterwards, all of us got sick. There were so many situations in the shelter that I was completely terrified of. Like, my anxiety was so high almost every day, because I find it very hard to communicate with people and being around people daily, and then you have to cook there, you have to eat there, the children, my children, others people's children. So it was very intense and very hard, like more than hard. It was almost unbearable, but I knew God saved me, only I couldn't feel him anymore. It was deserts, that's what I can say. It felt like deserts of trials and trials. And after some months, I was crying to God. I felt completely alone. At that time, I didn't have any single person, not online, not in real life, who could have helped me and encouraged me in my walk, in my choice to follow God, to follow Jesus. I was completely alone, and it was hard. It was, I think it was the one of the hardest times of my life, but God got me through. He got me through, and I started to feel his presence again after some time, some months, I think. I kept reading my Bible, I kept doing a lot of research on different topics of marriage and relationships and everything I could think of. I was reading a lot. So yeah, that's how my journey with Jesus began. I'm talking about 2014 now, and yeah, I have learned to treat my children differently. That's another story again. I think I have more than one testimony, but for me, the main testimony is how God saved me from the situation I was in and from the trap I was in. So that's gonna be it. I'm still hoping to make more videos and other testimonies and stories about how God taught me to love my children completely, unconditionally, and and some more testimonies, some more stories. So thank you. May Lord protect you and guide you, and have a blessed day or night wherever you are. Bye.